Yoga and Dreams, and today we are here talking with Anthony Brasher. And thank you for coming to talk with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So I've been hearing about this Lawgen. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, that's how it's pronounced. It's actually spelled Lawgen, like law genesis. The idea is that ultimately the things that we're dealing with in society are the product of bad decisions. And even if it's a law, that's really just a decision. So what we're trying to build is the ultimate optimization network. We're trying to build the ultimate problem-solving network. And the way that works is it's very simple in its layout. You basically type in the name of a place you care about. That could be Portland. It could be fishing. It could be a hobby of yours. Or it could be the English language. And you could describe problems with that area, however conceptual or geographic it is, or personal. You could have your household using this kind of utility. So you could basically you type in the name of an area you care about, and it shows you all of the problems listed in that area with the highest rated problems at the top. And then you click on the problem you care about, and you see all of the solutions that anyone's thought of for that problem side by side. So that instead of this chaotic, brainwashy media process where candidate A pays for ads and they tell you this information, and you try to look up information on the internet, and you just find your echo chamber. Google is filtering the search results based upon what they think you want to see. And so we're in an environment where a lot of people may want to know the truth, but even if they try really hard, it is exceptionally difficult to find an unbiased, or even just to find all the different perspectives involved. Because sometimes you have to learn from your opposition, or as I think it was Angela Davis who said, you need to learn from your heretics. You know, those are people with beliefs that are so antithetical to yours. You have to understand there's probably something in that they found beautiful and worthwhile. And so if you can understand what they saw in the philosophy, and they can understand what you see in your philosophy, then people can have a much easier time meeting as equals and to really suss out the best parts of each ideology.
And you're in town this weekend. You were speaking at...
Oh yeah, it was my pleasure to be invited to Portland Municipal Broadband PDX, if you care to check that out. Basically, instead of having these giant corporations controlling our internet in Portland, that's Comcast and CenturyLink, right? Who are very uncommitted to democratic principles or transparency, or they're corporations. You should know by now what they do. And if not, Google Crime Think. But yeah. But basically, I had contacted them from Washington, where I'm staying, and I told them I think what you're doing is so cool, and I also, could you do a signal boost for our little fledgling nonprofit project? And we told them about the way we want to list all the options side by side, so we can have a sane decision-making process about anything. And he was like, that is such a cool idea. You should just come down here and share it. Like, you should speak at our event. So I was like, you don't have to tell me twice,
So I'm visualizing it as being kind of like a crowdsourcing, collective, creative problem solving.
Yeah. It's
app?
Not,
is it an app?
It's bigger than an app. It's so imagine something. People are going to be building apps on it. So it's basically a foundation for, it's going to be open source, so everyone's going to be free to build all kinds of new tools. And also, because we can list problems and possible solutions with any space, we can do that with our own space. We can use the optimization network to optimize our optimization network. So,
you said a mouthful.
Yeah, I really think that there's going to be the first iteration, which is cool. I'm really looking forward to this. But what this is going to evolve into in 10, 20 years, there's no telling where this could go, because it's all about understanding the best options for every problem on Earth.
So this could spread all over the world.
Yeah, in fact, we have high hopes. We really believe this will become bigger than Wikipedia, because as useful as Wikipedia is, and as much respect as I have for it, it is just a place for descriptions of things. And so, you need descriptions of things. We need Wikipedia. Well, I think we'll always need it, but what we need after you know a thing is what you're going to do about it. How are you going to make it better? How are you going to do something about what you know? And that's where our site comes in. That's where we're the Wikipedia solutions, all your options.
And this also broadens kind of the accessibility in terms of creating a direct democracy. Right?
Absolutely. There's so actually it can be used for direct democracy or direct action. So if a person doesn't want to have anything to do with politicians, they have no faith in any kind of political scheming, I understand. And basically what they can do is they could type in the name of their city, see the problems going on there, see the solutions to the problems they want to work on, and then this will help them connect with the other people working on that. And also all the other people who log on in the future will connect with them.
And then if other cities had similar problems, like say Detroit had a problem with lead in the water and it was a horrible problem, and then we find out, oh, guess what? Portland also has problems with lead in the water. So then if say Detroit found some great way to deal with that problem. A solution.
Yeah, we would help it spread like wildfire. That's what we're here to do, is to make it so that instead of, because I've grown my whole life, I've been hearing these great ideas, one good idea after another, but there's just no way to implement them because the system that we use to select solutions, the government, doesn't care. It's not interested in whether or not an idea is good. And so what we're actually trying to do is build citizen expert coalitions. So we've built special tools. It's a little complicated. We have a pre-development site with a demo that people can check out. It's on our pre-development site, just demo. And it shows you in basic bare bones HTML how this would work. You can drop debates and links to things in the middle of pages with these little icons that we call tokens. So basically, if someone said a myth or a fallacy, or Monsanto came in and they said that we should be growing Monsanto food to feed all the poor people or whatever garbage they're spewing. But basically, they're going to pay people to be their mouthpiece, slip their propositions into our ballots. And so what these tokens do is when people use a myth or a fallacy or just lie, you can just take the simplest token, the note token, and just drop that right after what they said on the page, where everyone else will see it. So everyone else, if they're not interested in the discussion, they can just skip over this little token. It's not invasive. But if people are reading something and they see there's a bunch of debates and notes and stuff, they're going to know that's some very
controversial.
Yes, very controversial information. And if the curiosity guides them to click on one of those things, they're going to be instantly exposed to the counter arguments.
Now, will there be anyone kind of facilitating, say, dealing with trolls and things get out of hand? Are there going to be some guidelines around that?
Anyone online has to prepare for the trolls. And there's a lot of ways that websites have already figured this out, like Facebook, you can just flag accounts, and a lot of people, like if you're in Portland and you're trying to solve problems and some you're going to flag him, he's annoying you. And so we really aspire to have a completely decentralized system where no one can silence anyone else, but if you're participating in a way that breaks the rules, then you're out of there. That's the goal, because in governance, the devil's in the details, and you really don't want to give anyone special veto powers or admin powers or something. In the beginning, we're going to be using admin powers just to make sure that if something bad happens, we can freeze a page or take control. But this will be one of the main concerns for our site, is how to make that completely decentralized. Whether or not that involves some sort of conflict resolution center in the site, where people or activity that's been flagged can be reviewed by third parties who are from far distant lands, who have no stake in the game, right? They're just trying to maintain the site, and everyone's kind of maintaining each other's site, each other's quality from a distance. that might have some serious bugs in it. One of the most exciting things about this project is that whatever bugs we encounter will be front and center in our own site's discussion of the problems and possible solutions for our own site. So there will be a lot of experimentation, but I'm very optimistic because you can see all these other websites are still able to function. You know, we always have this fear that the hackers are going to hack the vote, but we never really wonder if they're going to hack our bank account. And when you think about it, that's the one thing you want to, you hack politics to get money. If you could just hack money, you would just hack money. Why would you bother with hacking anyone else? You would just go straight for the banks. So the fact that security has reached a point where we can have faith in banking online suggests that we can also vote online. The security measures do exist. They are within reach, especially with crypto technology. And one way, there's in crypto computing, they utilize a lot of, I don't know if all forms do this, but I know many will utilize computations which are very easy to do in one direction, like multiplying two prime numbers. But if you want to understand what numbers multiplied to get that number, it has a bunch of, you'd have to guess like 30 times. And the computer will kill the connection or kill your privilege to connect if you get for like 3 wrong guesses. So it just makes it mathematically impossible for people to hack. There's a lot of very fascinating tricks that cybersecurity experts have been employing. We plan on testing many of them. In the beginning, we're going to be using very low security because we're not going to be using people's sensitive information. It's a very low stakes game in the beginning. We're just going to be helping nonprofits and helping citizens organize, and like there's not really any more sensitive information than like what you have on Facebook. You know, in fact, you will be able to log in and create an account simply by logging in through your Facebook.
So now, how do people learn more about all this?
Yes, excellent. We have we have a pre-development site. So, like I said, we have a demo, we have explanations of things. We have programmers working on this right now, and if you're a programmer and you're interested, please contact us. We really are trying to make history here. Basically, you can contact us at The Lawgen Project. That's again spelled Lawgen, like Genesis. So The Lawgen Project at gmail.com. That's the best way to contact us directly, or we're on Facebook. Feel free to let us know if you would like to be one of the first people to write pages or to beta test, or if you would just like to receive updates and be on the listserv. We're also looking for artists. We really want to get the word out there, so we need more than programmers. The programmers are essential, but we want to know that when they're done programming, that there will be a big community of people that are ready to adopt the technology and get it out there.
So now, is this your brainchild, or you kind of came up with this together with some of these people you're working with? Or?
That's an interesting question, because it was inspired by the Occupy movement. I was down there at the General Assembly, and you have all these great ideas, but the format was so exhaustive, and after the conversation was done, there might be some notes, but most of this dialogue was just lost to the sands of time. It just evaporated away like speech so often does. So I was sitting there watching that, thinking, all these discussions we're having here, first of all, there's like 50 different discussions. We need to be streamlining or dividing into groups that are relevant to us, and we need to not be limited by geography. The people who care about clean water or net neutrality or anything, those people need to be in discussion with the other people who care about the same things, whether or not they're in their city. We need to have a really good discussion about net neutrality or feeding or housing the homeless or all these other things people are really caring about, instead of us all just trying to take the stage from each other. Yeah. It was also inspired by a video from the UK called the Coalition of the Willing. You can find that in Vimeo. The Coalition of the Willing was a group. There's actually a few groups that call themselves that, but the one you'll find on Vimeo were basically trying to do an online Occupy movement, where they said, government really is just supposed to be a place where you get solutions to problems. So we can really just make an archive where all the best solutions and technology are connected.
Would you say that this is kind of like making your dream come true, or?
Yeah, absolutely. So my own personal dream is to see these good ideas actually start being used. We live in an age of information, and it is beyond frustrating, it is beyond depressing to live in a world where so much wisdom and so much intelligence is ignored merely for the sake of profit, which is just a stupid ego game with people. It's not even paper, it's just ones and zeros and ego. So, you know, I want to be able to focus on my life without feeling like I'm turning my back on the world, without feeling like I'm just sitting in the margarita while others is making. And so we have to put a stop to that. We have to ensure the survival of humanity. And we're never going to do that using the existing system. It's just too entrenched, and it was never made to be aerodynamic under the pressures that exist in today's society. Once you have a representative, you have a concentration of power. And then once someone like a giant military contractor wants to start a war, they want more money this quarter, you become the target for bribes or threats. So even if you're a lion-hearted politician, they will eliminate you. And you won't even get elected if you didn't sell out to someone else. So maybe it's the bankster versus the military-industrial complex, but at best that produces a stalemate for evil. That doesn't produce good for us, and that doesn't produce solutions for the things that are poisoning the world and actively killing many, many people.
Yeah. So this gives the everyday person a chance to actually plug in and make a difference.
Yes, and it also gives scientists and experts a way to plug into communities. Again, this is about building a citizen expert coalition. This isn't just going to be willy-nilly mob rule. This is there's other features like the layer feature. Every page has layers to it. So if you're going to talk about a solution for taking care of the homeless in Portland, that has a default page, the main page everyone sees, right? And everything there is supposed to be written in plain English, so we're all on the same page. But if you're like say you're a professional of some kind and you want to work on this with other professionals in some regard, maybe you're going to talk about the finances of actually doing this, or you're going to talk about the material supply, or your construction crew, or whatever. If you're a group of experts, you can create your own layer of that post. It's still talking about that solution for that problem in that area, but this version, this layer of that page is for the biologists or this other group of experts. And that's interesting because it means you can learn from experts really easy. So if I wanted to learn applied biology, I could just rove the site looking at what biologists were saying on their layer. And what this also does is it makes it so that there can be an extremely in-depth conversation without making the main page hard to understand at all. If the biologists or other experts come to any sort of important conclusions, they can simply post that to the public side, the public layer, so everyone can see all the best cutting-edge information, all the best input from the experts. We're basically just trying to eliminate the politician. We're trying to show that you just don't need representativity. We can make ballots as equals. We can employ an incredible amount of criticism to each idea, but they'll be listed side by side, so it's equal. And all ideas are going to get equally criticized. And after the baptism by fire, you figure out which ones still have the highest rating, and you try that. And if it doesn't work, then you learn about that, and all the other cities or areas can learn that idea didn't work for us, and maybe they can try tweaking it. We'll learn from them later, but maybe actually option B is better, and everyone's going to be learning that faster. So we have a methodical process for determining the value of ideas, not simply listing them, but actually determining their real world value. And also I want to say that this isn't just geographic. Many of these places, as I said before, will be conceptual. So you can type in the name of your own social demographic. Oppressed peoples, I'm half Middle Eastern, so theoretically I could type in Middle Eastern American, and I would see all the problems what's going on with the least American people, and with the highest rate of polls on top. And I click on problem is the solutions anyone has thought of. Or women. You can type in women, and you can see all the problems that women are talking about with the highest rate on the top. Click on the problem you care about, and you see all the solutions that anyone has thought for that. And there's even a third section for making proposals, because sometimes agreements have to be made. Sometimes you just have a problem and like a solution, like you have back pain, drink more water, do these stretches, right? But sometimes you have to make an agreement. Sometimes we need to determine a budget, or we need to determine a speed limit, or there's things that we have to make agreements on. And so this is about doing that too. All is equal to one person, and eventually completely decentralized.
Wow. Now, so you've got people working on this right now.
Yeah.
Is there a timeline of when things are going to start rolling out?
Yeah, we should be online this year.
Wow.
Definitely this year. Hopefully within the next 6 months. Now all the little fancy features and getting it to look pretty and really like optimized and really nice website, that might happen closer to the end of the year. It depends if we hear from enough programmers. And we have been hearing from a surprising amount. The more we get, the more people take us seriously, and the more that people contact us. And there's a whole world of people trying to program. They're learning programming for their own enrichment and financial abilities. But in order to learn programming, you kind of have to program, you have to practice. And so that we've been getting a lot of people expressing interest in this. If all goes well, then this will be coming up very soon.
So, and as a nonprofit, most of these people are volunteering their time.
Everyone, yeah, this is a labor of love. This is something we believe in, and we're doing because we think it's important.
Wow. So do you have a GoFundMe or anything like that to help finance any of this?
We are a 501c3 nonprofit, so if anyone would like to make a tax-deductible donation, please contact us at the Lawgen Project.
Wow, that's mind-blowing. This, really could change everything.
Yeah, because decisions are at the core. Everything we've been dealing with as activists is the result of a bad decision being made at one point. And I also want to say about direct action. So there's direct action and there's direct democracy, right? So direct democracy is the idea that we eventually will vote on politicians with ideas. But the question is, how do you get there, right? How do we transition from the existing system to a system like this utopian thing I'm talking about, right? That's equally as vital, and to have a feasible transition. And that's another thing that really captivates me about this project, is that we have a perfectly viable transition process.
How we're going to make this transition from current system that's a lot of people are unhappy and seems like it's not working as well as it maybe once did, to a system that's more of the people by the people, right?
That's purely of the people by the people. That includes experts, of course. So how do we transition to this? And there is a way. There's already been a number of politicians who have told the public that if they get elected, they will create some kind of website where they can interact directly with the voters and on every policy individually, and that they will do what their voters tell them to do on sort of a micro basis, micro policy, So basically, this guy becomes like a curator of all the ideas of their people. And the problem with that is that they're trying to act on their own. They're trying to sell the public on a concept they haven't really become familiarized with and develop a sense of trust for. There's no telling that this is going to be off, or their ideas are really going to work. It's a very technical thing, getting everyone's input to work out. So what we're going to do is provide a platform that everyone will. It'll be like the Wikipedia for solutions. And so when these politicians say, "Hey, vote for me," and I'll do what you say, or I'll be, I will represent you truly on every issue. If they don't have to say, "And I'll create this thing you've never heard of, and we'll work with that," if they can instead say, "I will use a platform that you know and already use and already trust, has already been proven to work," then they don't have to reinvent the wheel on their own. And that's what we call the open party. the people who say, all my policies are open, everything here is transparent, we're going to use open source technology to work with you and all the experts, figure out all the best options for our city or our state or whatever, and that's the goal, is to ultimately enable the open party to work so well that it dominates. Because why would you vote for a Democrat or a Republican when you know that they're just going to stab you in the back the moment you elect them? And then, and I'm sure people will hold tight to that for a while, but you have to understand that the open party representatives will start getting results. If our technology works the way we think it will, with these debate formats and all these other things that we've integrated, that means that people are going to be seeing the open party, the people that they voted for in the open party actually doing what they wanted, actually being held accountable. We could even make secondary contracts where if there's a strong consensus from their voters and they disobey that consensus, they turn their back on the democracy that they promised us, that they would be taken from office that day, and we would that week or something, and immediately we would be voting on a replacement. And
wow.
that gets results.
Wow.
So,
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
And also, it seems like it would kind of get around some of the big money politics that happens in our current two-party system.
You don't have to sell out anymore. You can get well known by being a great leader in your area. You're working with people as one of them, and you've been doing so much work and gained so much trust that they vote for you, rather than you funding advertisements to get voted on.
Yeah.
And the hope is that with enough open party representatives, we can create our own legislation and have them push it, and with enough other open party representatives, that can get ratified. So we can have a totally peaceful revolution that's beyond revolution. Revolution that's the same thing rotating, right? Evolution is when the very constraints of the game have changed forever, and they will never go back. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to prove that the conflict resolution technology developed by conflict resolution experts is a superior methodology for finding solutions to problems than the existing system. So it's all about proving the existing thing is an archaic, obsolete piece of garbage produced before the age of toilet paper. Think about this. This is an information technology that was made before where we had toilets and pencils. We didn't have pencils back. So, yes, we can make a better information processing system. That's all. The government doesn't build the roads, doesn't build or do anything. All this is information processing.
And speeches.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's brilliant. I know you've put a lot of time and thought into it. You've talked about it in the past, and I'm really glad to know that it's moving forward and really happening, and can't wait to hear more and learn more about it. And thank you so much for coming to talk with us today.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, just that I'm grateful to be here, and I hope we'll be here with you guys.
All right. So, Sprout from Yoga and Dreams, Anthony Brasher, Lawgen Project. Thank you so much.